Welcome to Sanibel and Captiva's original podcast, The Insider's Guide to the Islands. My name is Nick Adams from Nick Adams Photography. I will be chatting with island experts from fishing guides to shellers to local personalities. I aim to get the insider information to make your island experience incredible. Welcome to episode 3. Today we've got David Muench from the Periwinkle Park on Sanibel, which is Sanibel's only campground. Welcome, Dave.
Nick, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Great to see you. So can you start off, tell us a little bit about the history of the park and how you came up to being on Sanibel and all the rest of it.
My grandparents came with their 2 youngest kids. They came to Sanibel. I guess the bridge was under construction, but not quite open yet. They visited a campground that was located where Loggerhead Cay Condominium is currently located. There was a campground there.
Okay.
So they traveled all the way from New York to go camping on Sanibel Island. When they got there, the campground didn't take kids.
Ah, okay.
So they had to figure it out, and they wound up getting through it somehow or another. And on the way home, my Aunt Missy expressed to my grandparents, why don't we come back and open our own trailer park and we can allow kids there? And they kind of laughed it off and went on their way, but something stuck in my grandpa's head. And he went back, and I don't know how he did it. He had to borrow a lot of money. He had to sell a lot of things, and he packed up everyone he had, and they went to Sanibel. I think at that point it was my Uncle Jerry was 17 or 18 years old with my grandfather and his older brother Steve. And man, they went to taming this thick forest of pine trees and all sorts of vegetation and forged out this trailer park.
So what year would we be talking there?
We're talking about 1964. Well, the park opened in 64. They didn't do any construction until the bridge was open. That was the moment that my grandfather was kind of waiting for. He was waiting for that bridge to be built. You know, they knew it was coming, and that was going to be the trigger. Once it was going to be accessible to a lot of people, that's when it was going to be the thing to do.
Gotcha. So the other park obviously fizzled out. It didn't.
Well, I think it sold.
Oh, it sold.
It sold to developers that wanted to put up the condo, and so at one point, the original deal that my grandfather was trying to pick up was the property was from Periwinkle all the way to the Gulf.
Wow. Okay.
But by the time he figured out his side of things, got back to the realtor, the whole half toward the beach had already gotten sold off. So he had and now the park was pretty small in the beginning. The original acreage was like 15 or 20 acres, and then part of the other part we rented from the Baileys. The Baileys leased us land that we used to do that, and eventually they came to a deal and
Baileys,
sold it
in case you don't know, long-time island residents. They own the original Baileys General Store and have been connected with the island since the turn of the century, maybe.
Yes, they've been out here. My mom remembers. Well, the original Bailey store was down on the end of Bailey Road, and my mom remembers shopping there.
Oh, really?
It was not a grocery store when I was a little older. The Baileys donated that building to the Children's Education Center of the island. So it became the Children's Education Center.
Which is where my kids went.
And that's where we met, I think.
That's right, yeah.
So the original preschool was over there, and that's where I went to preschool.
Oh, wow.
In that building, right on the bay.
Wow.
We were allowed to actually play in the water and along the beach, like at recess when we were in those were the times.
Oh, I didn't understand. That was actually, the building was still there. It wasn't moved to where it is.
No, that building was
gotcha.
on that piece of property, and there was like an old dilapidated dock that we used to hang off of and like try to catch crabs and stuff. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, it was an amazing place to grow up.
So Bailey's General Store, just going off track a little bit, was originally at the point of the pier where the ferry used to come over pre-bridge.
Yes.
So there was a pier. the ferry would dock there, and then right at the foot of the pier was the Bailey's General Store.
Right, so it made it easy for the supplies to get there, get them in the store. Gotcha. So it made sense, I guess.
Gotcha. So how big, you said it used to be 15, 20 acres then. How big is it now?
33.
Wow.
With the addition of the Rutland property, which we acquired that in the early 80s. A lot of people on Sanibel, not a lot maybe, but some people on Sanibel were a little reluctant to allow us for that expansion, and we had to put it to a citywide vote. I mean, it was a little bit of controversy back then. Yeah, because with the development of the land, I just, I don't know, but there was a little bit of fuss about it.
Right.
Not everybody was thrilled to necessarily see that. Okay,
and then give us an idea of the park, what's it made up of permanent residents, part-time residents?
We have 360 total spaces. 80 of them are campsites, 81 are campsites. Another 164 spaces are permanent park model sites or RV sites, and then another 80 or so mobile home sites. So that's what compromises the entire property.
Okay, so you have your fare of daily visitors, or is there a minimum booking time?
There is no minimum. We can do day, week, month, year. It doesn't really matter.
Wow.
However long you want to hang out with us.
So you do have some year-round residents?
No, not on the camping side. Not on the camping side.
I didn't mean that, but on the RV
year-round
side.
on the RV side and the mobile home side, you bet. There's 10 or 15% maybe.
Wow.
That'll stay for the whole summer. And I remember when we had to evacuate for Irma, there was quite a few people that I had to kind of check up on and shuffle them along.
And you two, you live on the site itself as well, yeah?
It's not officially connected to the park, but through a series of properties, it is. And I just take my little golf cart from my house right into the property. I can be there in under a minute.
Handy, yeah.
It's very handy, yeah. Love it.
So tell me a little bit about so there's not very many full-time or residents that have been on Sanibel their entire life. You grew up here, you were here
I grew up here.
You grew up
1972. I got here. So I was just 2 years old, just starting preschool, and there was not a lot going on
I can imagine.
It was pretty desolate.
How many residents on the island?
Oh my gosh.
Did you know everyone?
Well, you would think, everybody certainly
two, obviously
knew.
You didn't, but
right.
Your parents.
But yeah, because everybody was hanging out. There was not a lot to do. Around that time, in the late 60s and early 70s, I'm going to go back to Uncle Jerry. He was the only 18-year-old on the island at that time. So he had it way worse. I mean, there was really no one to hang out with. It was pretty barren.
Wow. And do you have fond memories growing up? I mean,
I totally do. I mean, this was a magical place to grow up, and there were plenty of kids around that we were able to hang out with. There were kids in the dunes, and there were kids living up and down Middle Gulf Drive and Gumbo Limbo. So it was a little bit of Lord of the Flies almost, because there was none of the protections that we have for our kids today. We didn't need some of those protections. We were allowed to kind of free roam. So we were out in the woods making forts and, out on the beach making bonfires and, just, I don't know, just living a life of carefree. You're still
not much different today, though, Dave.
Pretty similar.
Still a bit of a closet redneck, I think.
A little bit, yes.
Still like the outdoors.
I don't have a pool at my house. I have a fire pit.
There you go. That says it all. You like a bit of four-wheeling, honestly?
Yes, I'm absolutely love the four-wheel.
Okay.
And, anything adventurous,
Cool.
That's my speed.
So tell me a little bit about any of the amenities at the park. I mean, you've got, it's famous for its birds, obviously.
Yes, well known for our birds. We have one of our residents comes out and displays the birds, talks about them a little bit, and we don't charge any admission to come in. You can walk or ride your bicycle onto the property. And
just to make that clear, this is probably one of the best kept secrets on Sanibel. I think it's something you should always take your kids to go and do, and that is totally free. Or
it's totally free. Yeah, there's
and
no
then
charge.
when can you do it? What days?
You can come any single day, any day of the week during the daylight hours. You can come by the office and say, "Hey, we're here to see the birds. We'll show you where to park your car." You stroll on in, and you can hang out as long as you like.
Okay.
There's no limit. We're sensitive to vehicles coming in the property and coming in through the back. So if you could just go in through the front, you can just tell them you're here, and they'll direct you how to do it. The show that Libby puts on is on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m.
Okay.
And it's seasonal. So it's not every day, and it's only during the high season, which is like right around now. We're going to be finishing up, around mid-April, I think.
Okay.
I think it'll kind of start to taper off a little bit.
And is that scheduled anywhere? I mean, is there anywhere
because it could cancel at any time.
Just
for
when
any
the island's
reason.
quiet.
So, when she kind of decides, all right, it's kind of slowing down, we'll stop. And, she's trying to enjoy her vacation too. She's here as a visitor as well.
And it's not just a little aviary we're talking about. It's huge. But I mean, there's how many birds have you got? Do you think?
Well, on display, we probably have 45, 50 ducks in the pond, and probably 40 or 50 birds in different cages in different areas of the park. In the back of our pond, one of the really cool parts is we have ring-tailed lemurs. And brown lemurs. We also have some squirrel monkeys on display that are, in a cage where there's a lazy river that kind of rolls through it and lots of vegetation. So that's kind of cool to watch them too.
And can kids feed the birds or no? Or is that?
Yeah, you can feed the ducks. We have a little dispenser, and you get a little bit of food. You throw it over, and all the ducks will come out. And it's fun. The kids definitely get a kick out of it because the ducks go a little crazy for it.
So let's be clear. This is your dad's passion.
This is his hobby, and it got a little out of control.
Yeah.
And now it's just kind of become the normal. And now it's become the legacy.
Okay,
so we'll always have the birds there.
Yeah.
We'll always have that duck pond there. I can't foresee us not having that around because people just have grown to enjoy it.
And I think if you didn't know, all the birds that are at Jerry's at the supermarket there are all...
Also, my dad's, he has a wonderful deal worked out with them that we gets to keep those birds up there. And that's something we'll probably try to always kind of keep going as well.
Fantastic. And then, so what, is the park open year-round for camping, or is it...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we are open 365.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about the size of the park. How close are you to the beach, Dave?
We're about a quarter of a mile from the back end of the park there, so it's a pretty close walk. It's easier to ride a bike. Just a couple minutes on a bike, and you're there.
Got bike paths on front and back of property.
Absolutely. And then one of the other cool things about the great bike services we have here on the island, like Billy's and these other guys, they'll deliver the bikes right to our campers. So you just make a phone call, order up your bike, and within a predetermined amount of time, you'll have your bikes and you'll be riding all over the island like everybody else.
Awesome. Another thing, Dick, your dad, he's obviously got some other interests too, namely across the road.
So he's got the restaurant thing going on with Larry, and we have the park as well that keeps him busy, and his birds. But one of the other cool things about, he started the Kiwanis Club.
Oh, he
out
did?
Here. He founded it here on Sanibel, and he also started the Little League. All of this back in the early 70s. And he's, still with Kiwanis today, doing good things out in the community. The spaghetti dinner is always a hit with everybody.
For sure.
And then, 35 years in the Little League.
Yeah, well, Max, our son, went to Sanibel School, and your dad was still...
He was still doing
there,
it?
There then.
So you got to witness it.
Yeah. Him and Marty, wasn't it?
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
Right. Yeah, I think they finished just shortly after we left. And so, Dick's part owners of Lazy Flamingo.
Yes.
The one by the Causeway.
Yes. He's involved in all of them. except for the one up at Blind Pass. That
Gotcha.
one,
Okay.
That one is
so one of my favorite places to go. The
yes,
Lazy Flamingo.
absolutely. I'm there all the time,
seafood.
of course.
Yeah, I'm sure, just right across the road.
Yes, it's super convenient.
Yeah, if ever you get a chance to go, you got to check out their wings and
beer and
ice cold beer.
TVs
Best place ever to have oysters, shucked right in
Yes.
front of you. And really, really, really picky about what they serve. So it's the only place I ever eat oysters. Really, really great restaurant. And then give us a couple of pointers. Like, you've been on the island for years and years and years. Give us a couple of things, top 3 things for you to do on Sanibel, apart from, obviously being at the park.
Riding my bike on Pond Apple Trail, which is a new thing for the island. The off-road bike path that is behind Periwinkle.
I had no idea it existed.
Okay, this goes from the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
All the way past behind the Lazy Flamingo, behind the Dairy Queen, goes all the way up behind Metzaluna's and comes out at the Bailey Homestead.
No way.
So it's an off-road through the woods bike trail that I think is absolutely fabulous, and I like to take my kids on it. It's just a neat little thing, and it's off of Periwinkle, so you're not around the cars, and it's totally awesome. That's my new favorite thing to do on the island.
Okay, we'll put a map of it we'll find out and put a map on the show notes of where it is, because I'm not actually sure myself. So where do you get onto it? You get onto it
right at the Chamber of Commerce is where it starts, and at the Bailey Homestead is where it ends. So subsequently, you could start at the Bailey Homestead at what is that? Roadside Park?
Yes. Yeah,
it starts right at Roadside Park and ends then at the Chamber of Commerce.
Very cool.
Second favorite, old time thing to do is pay the couple bucks and drive through Ding Darling.
Oh yeah.
Just chill.
Yeah.
Roll down your windows.
Yeah.
Turn off your cell phones.
Yeah.
Get your kids, turn off the YouTube.
Yeah.
And enjoy looking at roseate spoonbills.
Yeah.
My favorite marsh bird ever.
Yeah.
Them and the white pelicans, they're around right now too. So you get to see a lot of our migrating visitors coming through there, and you get to see some old favorites like the gators and the herons and egrets and things like that. And then which I think Bowman's Beach, hanging out, not right there by the boardwalk.
Yeah, don't tell anyone this about turning right and then walking all the way down.
Right. We'll keep that between ourselves.
We'll keep it between us, because it's the best kept secret on Sanibel. And we shouldn't mention that once you walk down there, take a right and just keep walking, because you'll have a beach to yourself. We shouldn't mention that.
You shouldn't also mention that I bring my bikes in the Jeep because there's a hard path, again,
that runs parallel to the beach.
Parallel to the beach, kind of back in there.
And I can take all my photography gear down there parallel to the beach, but we won't mention it.
But we won't talk about that.
No, we won't talk about that. Yeah.
Other things.
Yeah, okay. And then give us one. Have you got one other?
I do. So this is an old-time memory, and it is it's lost today. There was a paddle wheel boat up in the woods at Algiers Beach.
Algiers Park, yeah.
And I remember that.
You do?
I do.
Okay, so funny story here. Laurie's aunt and uncle live on the island, lived on Birdsong Lane for 40 years up until a year ago. They've moved to Naples. They have a picture of that paddle boat, and we should get a copy of it. And they also, in every house they've lived in, because Birdsong is right next to Algiers, they have one of the portholes in one of their doorways in their house. That
is awesome.
And it's stayed with them. It's now in a new house in Naples.
The porthole.
The porthole from that
boat.
Yeah.
That is totally awesome.
Yeah,
that
so
is really
it was
cool.
used as a residence, wasn't it, I believe? Somebody actually lived on it, didn't they?
I think they were trying to do like a restaurant or a resort. They were trying to do something where they dug a massive canal to get that thing in there. I saw photos of it on Facebook in one of those Remember When groups.
Yeah.
So you might, if you did you would see they dug a massive canal to get that thing up there, then got it landlocked and filled it in. So
that's probably another thing that we shouldn't mention. If you want a quiet beach right in the middle of season, we probably shouldn't mention Algiers Beach either.
Algiers Beach.
Don't mention
off
Algiers.
Of Cassiabel Road.
Off of Cassiabel Road. It's always it's the one that you can always go to, and there's always parking spots. Yeah, we won't mention that one. Okay, perfect. Where on the web can everybody hear about Periwinkle Park?
SanibelCamping.com if you wanted to check out our rates, begin the reservation process. If you were looking to discover more about just the general community inside of Periwinkle Park, plus some of the units that do come up for sale get listed at myperiwinklepark.com as well. And you can always check us out on Facebook. We have a Periwinkle Park page. Like us and follow us there.
All right. Well, as you are you're an island resident pretty much, and you're a sort of local, then we got this little test that we do for people.
Okay.
And,
should I be scared?
Here I have, apparently, according to Wendy Schnapp, I have a queen conch shell, and I want to see your skills. Something that you can master, obviously, because you've lived here your entire life, so you must be able to pull one out the bag.
You ready for this?
Okay, go on then.
I've never done this before in my life. Let's see it, but I've seen it. I've seen it on,
yeah, so it must be easy, right?
But I pretended to do it on TV.
Okay. Hold on, I think we can get a tune out of that.
Ready?
Ready? Excellent. Thanks very much, Dave.
Nick, it is always a pleasure, man.
Pleasure
This
to see
is
ya.
fabulous.
Good stuff.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much. Episode 3, David Muench, and we'll have to get Dick on sometime soon.
We'll do it soon.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening to The Insider's Guide to the Islands. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes.